Okay, so first off, my sweater is on my chair. I don't feel good. I was getting overheated and I thought I might vomit, so yes, I am now in my undershirt. My CrossFit Agathos shirt, which closed down. Favorite gym I was ever at. Missed that place. But it's a Good Friday. Is it? No. What day is it?
Thursday.
Oh man, it's not a good Thursday then. I thought it was Friday. Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh, Scooby. Unit 3. We are talking about unit rates. And we are on day 1. It's the 1st of November. That's a big deal. We made it through a couple months already. That's awesome. Did you just give me the peace sign right now? Oh, 2 months? September, October, almost 2.5, because we started in August. Ooh, math wins. So the first thing that we need to talk about, and we've talked about this before, is a ratio. What is a ratio? Owen.
It's the, so if you have one number and it equals so many numbers, it equals another number.
Not quite.
Every one square there's 6 feet.
Okay, that could be a ratio. You've given me an example.
It's a part of something.
Okay. How many numbers have to be involved in a ratio?
2.
2. A ratio is a comparison of 2 numbers. Okay? So when we're talking about ratios, we're going to have 2 numbers. Questions there? So, there are 3 ways to write a ratio. Mrs. Armstrong, what is your favorite number?
27.
27. So I can say, here's way 1. 27 to 7. Okay? That's a fraction. We've seen that, right? That's the most common way to write a ratio. The way that I would say this ratio is, again, 27 to 7. The second way, don't know what that was, that I can write a ratio is with the 2 dots, which is a colon. Not colon like on your insides, but colon with, it is a colon, not semicolon. Semicolon.
It's a colon.
Yeah.
That's a colon.
I don't even know where my colon is. It's in here-ish. Right?
Yes.
It's in there. Yeah. It's in there. The way that I would say this is 27 to 7. See, look, teaching you health as well. Cross-curricular. Boom. Last but not least, the way to write it is 27 with the word 2 and 7. Those are ratios. Again, a ratio is a comparison of 2 numbers. Again, a ratio is a comparison of 2 numbers. And I'm not going to lie, Look what I'm doing here. I'm getting something out of a book. Oh man. When was the last time that you've ever seen me get a book to read a definition? This is strange. Yeah, I know it's never. Mrs. Armstrong showed me this book. She's like, hey, I use this when I'm tutoring some students. I love it because it takes math to the bare basics. And sometimes that's what we need. And I love this definition. So, you hold that. Good. The next word that we're going to go with is a rate. A rate, you can close,
Okay.
is a special ratio. Now let's stop right there for a second. If it's a special ratio, what do we know that a rate has to be? Leighton,
2 numbers.
I need more than just 2 numbers.
Comparison.
Yeah, we know that a rate's still going to be a comparison of 2 numbers. But in this case, and again, I'm pulling this right out of this book. I love this thing. Where the 2 numbers being compared have different units. So a rate is a special ratio. Again, a comparison of 2 numbers where the 2 numbers being compared have different units. Okay? Rebecca, can you think of anything that we can compare that has different units? You can say no, and that's all right. No? Okay. Make sure we stay awake, okay? Okay. So, started coaching basketball, right? Today is our first day of actual tryouts where we're taking data. Here's a comparison that I'm going to use today. And these are going to be the actual letters. FTM, FTA. Anybody want to take a wild guess what FTM is? If you're a basketball player, what are we doing?
Free throws made, free throws attempted.
Ah, very good. Free throws made. I'm comparing the number of makes to the free throws attempted. That's a comparison of 2 numbers. That's going to be a rate. Mrs. Armstrong, can you give me another example that maybe we use a little bit more than the kids would?
I can give an example when we're driving.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so when I look at the speed limit on 7 Highway, I know I need to go 55 miles per hour.
Oh, miles per hour. I could write miles per hour a different way. This can be written as miles over hours. Those are comparisons with different units. Owen, you think you have another one?
How many times do you get pulled over in a year?
We're going to go with no. We're going to go with no. What about, who's ever gone grocery shopping with their parents? Yeah, most of us have done that, right?
Going grocery shopping
Oh,
with your parents.
sorry, I was hopping and hacking.
How about, who's bought fruit? I love fresh fruit. We buy fresh fruit for Cole all the time. And now it doesn't happen so much. Mrs. Armstrong, back in our day, Do you remember the scales that they had by the fresh fruit, where you had to weigh the fruit to see how much? That doesn't really happen anymore, does it? But we can do cost per pound. Apples might be $3.99 per pound. Well, if we've got 7 pounds of apples, we need to know how much that cost is. So cost per pound. These are all rates. Okay? Questions on what a rate is? Are we good? So far, we've talked about ratios, which is a comparison of two numbers. We've talked about rates, which is still a comparison of two numbers, but they have different units. And now we get to the important one. So I'm going to put a star next to it, because this is our money maker for the day. We are going to talk about unit rate. Can you see that? Oh man, I'm having trouble with this today. A unit rate. So, what word do we see in unit rate that we already know? I mean, everybody's hand should be up. Rebecca, rate. What is a rate, Taylor?
Special material where two numbers will be paired.
That have with different units. So a unit rate is a rate. So it's still a rate. It's still going to have different units. So it is a rate that has a denominator of 1. When we talk about unit rate, we want that denominator to be 1. We want to know how much is that dog. But we want to know how much exactly one thing is. I'm in a singing mood today, Mrs. Armstrong. Actually, that's all I knew of the song. I am so bad at nursery rhymes. Like, Ashley will start singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I don't know how the song goes. Like, she's like, Twinkle, twinkle, little star. And I was like, so my parents bought me a book with all of these nursery rhymes. And they're like, you need to learn these for your child. I'm like, okay. Itsy bitsy spider. And I know the start of every nursery rhyme, and I don't know how any of them finish. And it breaks my heart.
You can make up your own.
I do.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Speak
do you
creative.
really think that I don't do that? Come on.
Right, that you do that.
Ouch. Okay. So what are we going to see with unit rates? We are trying to figure out what one thing is. Okay? So watch what we're going to do here. We're going to say, and it's going to be more of a word problem to start. Mr. H goes to buy cereal. Okay? Ashley and I love eating cereal. We buy 4 boxes for $8. How much is 1 box? Now, I'm showing you the word problem. We'll do just unit rate, but I want you to understand first what this is actually doing, why we would use this. Okay? So, what are we looking for one of? What are we looking for one of? I need more than 2 hands. What are we looking for one of? Luke?
Cereal box?
1 box. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to set up just with words. If we're looking for 1 box, unit rate needs a denominator of 1. Denominator is which part? Top or bottom?
Bottom.
Bottom. So my boxes are down here. What's up top? Owen?
The about pace.
The cost, the dollars. So now that I've set it up knowing that my dollars are on top, my box is on bottom. Everybody with me? Can we set this up so that we can start to find just a rate? How would I set this up to find a rate? Because that's what we're going to start with.
You can take 8 divided by 4.
There we go. So I'm going to say, okay, the cost was $8 over 4 boxes. Is this, actually let's just do this. This is a rate. But if we want 1 box, we want a unit rate. Everybody still with me? How are we going to find the unit rate? Carly.
When we see a fraction bar, what math operation does that tell us to do?
We're going to divide. We're going to divide the denominator into the numerator. How many times does 4 go into 8? 2. So my unit rate, and what we're doing is we're really taking that denominator and dividing it by itself and into the numerator. So 8 divided by 4 is $2 per 1 box. Everybody with me there? So that's how we would use it in a real life situation. All I want to see now is, can we find unit rates? Can we find unit rates? So here's my first couple. So we're going to find the unit rate. So we went 120 miles over 4 hours. We bought $30 for 5 pizzas and $90 for 3 pairs of shoes. Find the unit rate for each of those. How much one thing is. Remember, Carly, what mathematical operation did you say that fraction bar was?
Division.
Division.
When you finish number 1, will you just put your hand up and make sure you put a label. Your numbers are good, but make sure you put a label.
Am I done?
You are done, but you have to have a label, honey. Guys, you still keep the label, so if this says, this first one where it says 120 miles in 4 hours, your unit rate label is going to be miles per hour, okay? Keep that label with it or the answer doesn't mean much. When okay, go on. Do the next two.
Whatever it is.
I'm told them to raise their hand.
Go ahead and solve number one.
Great job.
And then next year.
30 what? 30. Have units on both the numerator and denominator.
We just
Are you still having any more? There you go. Go on and do number 2 and 3.
Okay, so for unit rate, number one, what do I have to divide both numerator and denominator by, Jess? By 4. So I divide this by 4 and this by 4. Now listen, my first thing that I would do is keep the units. I would keep miles. I would keep hour. What does the denominator have to be if we're finding a unit rate? 1. 120 divided by 4 is going to give me what, Lydia? 30. So we would be driving 30 miles per 1 hour. So I could say 30 miles per hour. Everybody heard that before, right? Okay. Number 2. What am I dividing both the numerator and denominator by, Cece? By 5. So now I want to put the units. What's my unit on top, Rebecca? If it was started off with dollars, what's it have to be?
So if it's $3, it stays.
So what is it? Stays dollars, good. If the denominator was pizzas, what's it going to be, Renee? Pizzas. But because we always need the denominator to be 1, I'm just going to put pizza, because it's 1 pizza. And how much is that pizza going to cost?
$6.
$6. So I would say $6 for every 1 pizza. $6 per pizza. Everybody still with me? What am I going to divide each of the last one by? Connor, what am I going to divide both of number 3 by?
3.
By 3, very good, sir. So I divide both the numerator and the denominator by 3. If it's dollars in the top, Izzy, what's it have to be in the top? Dollars. And Miss, I have every pair of shoes that's ever came out. If it's a pair of shoes on the bottom, what's it on the bottom? What? Pair of shoes. So 3 divided by 3 is 1 pair of shoes. 90 divided by 3 is $30. So it's $30 per 1 pair of shoes. Questions? Anybody? Unit rate. Good.